Greetings everyone and welcome to my channel. I'm your host Captain Ryan. Today's video comes to us from Madara 1. And Madara is in the Tier 10 British light cruiser HMS Minotaur here in World of Warships. As the battle gets underway, it's North map, my favorite map. It's domination match mode, and as you can already begin to see, the team is making the inevitable lemming train off to the A cap point. This, unfortunately, tends to occur quite a lot in this particular battle mode on this particular map. Now, there are a few other maps that do have the inevitable lemming train to A, Two Brothers being one of them. But for whatever reason, everybody seems to head off this direction. And, well, that's not bad to send a reasonable force off this way, because you do have at the very least the B cap point over here as well. And the fact that it is a lot more of an open cap location than, say, the D cap point. But having the vast majority of your team come over here is only going to lead to pain and suffering. And it's not that it's a bad thing to go over here and try and take the cap and then work up the flank. It's that it leaves all of the other cap locations wide open for the enemy to have a fast cruiser or just a fast, sneaky destroyer go in and cap all of those locations and gain an early points lead. And of course, as I always say, the team that manages to gain that early points lead can usually better weather losing ships as well as better win in the long run by having the points. Now, Madara gets up here. He's got his friendly div mate that's in the cruiser, that's in the Moskva, I believe, and Madara goes ahead and pops a smoke screen and starts opening up on this Shimakaze. Now, that smoke screen's going to keep him hidden, but more importantly, it's going to keep his ally hidden. Now, somebody has popped radar or hydro, so they are being detected. Madara is being targeted, but he's trying desperately to get shots out here at this Shimakaze. He's almost got him. Yes, does manage to secure his first blood in the game. Second enemy destroyer pops up here, and it could very well be this destroyer that has hydroacoustic up. Torpedoes coming in there, but because of the way Madara is situated here, all he really has to do is back up just a little bit and is going to end up avoiding all of those torpedoes. Madara then secures his second kill in very short order. Now, the enemy team has managed to secure one kill by killing off one of their destroyers, but now they have a destroyer disadvantage. And again, this is why I wonder why people always inevitably lemming train up this direction, especially if you're in a destroyer. If you're in a destroyer, go push the B cap point, go push the C cap point, hell, go push the D cap point. Don't send somebody out there that's like a battleship that's going to take their big guns out of the game. No, you go to the D cap point, because you can slip through that channel between D and C very easily. You can get turned around. You can go all the way around much, much more effectively. Now, the advantage of the Minotaur, of course, aside from its super high speed, is that it has torpedoes. And they're single fire, just as you would expect. Well, Madara manages to land all the hits onto this battleship, but it looks like he managed to damage saturate the bow on that battleship, and that's going to leave him dangerously low HP, but not dead. So Madara's going to go ahead, open up with guns. Can he get the shots out? Can he finish him off? No, not quite. A little disappointing. Doesn't manage to get the kill on that battleship. Really kind of disappointing when you think about how much damage he actually did to that battleship, but of course, having the second set of torpedoes there, not actually useful, because it damage saturated the bow. Looking at the map situation, the enemy team has gone ahead and they've got the D cap point and they have the C cap point. And the ships that went over to the C and D cap point, the three on the team that did, they're all dead. And because they're all dead, that means that whole flank is now completely exposed. And if the enemy team is paying any lick of attention, they can now go ahead and push through the D or C cap points, especially the C cap point, and get back down and around and behind you. And that's a significant problem for you, especially if you're like Madara and his div mate, and you're using an island as solid rock armor, because what that means, the enemy team can come up behind you and start shelling you from behind while you're busy concentrating on what's in front of you. More smoke screens being popped. This is excellent teamwork by the two of them there because, of course, it's a Moskva. It's got excellent radar. If, for whatever reason, they're not able to spot targets anymore, they can just pop the radar and see what's out there. But again, as I'm saying, the enemy team has the D and C cap points, and Madara's team only managed to actually have the C, or the B cap point. And because they've only got one cap point to the enemy's two, that does mean that the enemy is gaining more points, and since they're equal on ships, that definitely means the enemy's gaining more points, so they are going to have a points lead here. Now, you'll notice that they are not capping the A cap point. That's because there is somebody here in the A cap point with them, and you can tell that they would really like to go up there and deal with them, but of course, they've just lost a couple more ships trying to get around that island. Now, whoever was up there with them at the A cap point has left the A cap point, so they are starting to cap finally, and if they can get that, as well as sink a few more ships, they can hopefully get themselves back into a position where it's a much closer game, because right now the enemy team is definitely winning. Now, the Minotaur also has 10-kilometer torpedoes, and I say it's got 10-kilometer torpedoes, and I point this out in this game because there are a lot of people who seem to forget that it has these things. Not only does it have these 10-kilometer torpedoes, but it's got 8 of them per side. So you definitely have to be careful there. Of course, this Bismarck manages to find the gap. The gap opened up by the almighty RNGesus himself and actually sail right through him. Madara doesn't manage to secure the kill on that, but considering how many different people were shooting at that particular Bismarck, I'm kind of surprised he lasted as long as he did. Now, the smoke screen has worn off, and here's what's happened. The enemy team has, in fact, paid attention, and they've come down through the C cap point, and they've now got themselves in the backfield behind the friendly ships. Madara's team has managed to secure the second cap point here at A, but I'm not really sure it was worth it, considering that this is the only cap location that they actually have anybody at. In fact, as you can see, the enemy team's already pushing the C cap point, and they're going to be able to take it uncontested. Now, the enemy team has a couple of tier 10 cruisers. One of them, the Hindenburg over here, is a very good cruiser. It's got good torpedoes, though not as long range, and it has really, really good 8-inch guns. It's got 12 of them and a pretty quick reload on them, which makes the Hindenburg a fairly decent ship. Now, this Hindenburg is no fool. He is playing it really, really well. He's angling his ship, especially angling against Madara, knowing that there is a British cruiser over here with that semi-armor piercing just pumping round after round after round. But semi-armor piercing, as you can see there, lots of ricochets, lots of shatters. So not doing nearly as much damage as, say, any other cruiser would be doing. The enemy team now capping the C cap points. So that's going to leave the enemy team with 3 of the 4 caps, and Madara's team not in a position to do anything. As you can see there, he's got a lot of ships that are actually down behind him at the A cap point. They either need to push up, or they need to go and they need to defend the C cap point. But that's definitely not happening. Again, we see this too often, don't we? Especially in high-tier gameplay, high-tier battleships that don't want to actually engage the enemy. They tend to try and sit back in the back and snipe, because why else would I have that kind of range? And Madara is actually dealing with another cheeky British cruiser. It's down there. It's the tier 8, though. And, of course, the Minotaur is just going to be able to wreck this cruiser if this cruiser continues to give broadside or even push up. They may just be 6-inch guns with semi-armor piercing, but boy, they can sure put the hurt out on lightly armored ships, especially destroyers, but especially cruisers of the like. But this cruiser player, he's no fool either. He's constantly maneuvering, constantly turning, he's zigzagging. However, Madara definitely has the range, and so he's putting it out there. Again, 10-kilometer torpedoes, so he's getting those torpedoes out, and it'll be interesting to see if this cruiser player continues to push up the way he's going. It's the possibility that he may actually just sail right into a torpedo. The enemy team way out in front now with points. They have 3 of the 4 cap points, and they have a ship's advantage. They don't have much of a ship's advantage, but they have enough of a ship's advantage. Now this cruiser has got two options. He can either turn bow on, or he can turn broadside on, and turning broadside on is his only option if he wants to avoid getting chewed up by torpedoes. So he goes broadside on, partly to turn bow on to the destroyer that's back over there, and this gearing that's back over here isn't really helping all that much. He's pink, obviously he doesn't want to accidentally cause harm to people on his team, so he's keeping his distance to try and avoid that, but look where he's at. He's not really helping the team back there. Yeah, he's being a bit of a thorn in the side for the enemy players that have pushed back over there. But beyond that, he hasn't been able to get up there and spot. He hasn't gone and capped any of the locations, and he's actually in a good position to try and go do that. He could go and push up and take the C cap point. Hell, even take the D cap point. Get those caps back up there. But he's not doing that. He's now headed up towards the A cap point, and this is kind of surprising. If I was that destroyer captain, I would actually be pushing to the C cap point and dropping torpedoes into it. Or, better yet, again, go to the D cap point. Go to the C cap point. Get those two caps back for my team. The battle is not lost in spite of having a 300 plus points difference and having the enemy team with 3 of the cap points. They have a ship's advantage, but just barely. And again, the battle's not lost. We've seen games come from behind with greater differences. And Madara pops yet another smoke screen, and it's going to be important to note this is his last smoke screen. So beyond this, he's not going to be able to do anything more with smoke. He's going to have to take the damage. He's going to face the music, but fortunately he's got his repair ability left, so as long as he doesn't end up taking a couple of huge citadels, he should be okay. Madara manages to secure the kill on that Mogami or that Ibuki down there. Hard to tell which one those are thanks to my video editing software. Manages to kill that one, securing, I do believe, his 4th kill so far in this game. Possibly just his 3rd. Now he's got a battleship and some cruisers coming up the other side here. He's got a Yamato here, and the Yamato's turning away. So the semi-armor piercing not going to do as good a job here, but you'll notice that Yamato is completely focused on the other ships that have actually now, for whatever reason, pushed all the way up to the island up near the spawn location of the enemy team. I'm surprised that they've gone ahead and done this. I know it's a Yamato and you definitely want to try an angle to it, but that's still a little bit of a ridiculous way to go out of your way. Enemy team now down to just 3 ships. They've got a very low health Hindenburg that Madara is wisely choosing to focus down. Yes, he's got a broadside Hindenburg he could just shot at, but remember, a damaged enemy is still a deadly one, so anytime you can start taking out these ships, anytime you can secure the kill, you secure the kill. But the enemy team, look at that, they're up in the 900 point bracket. Now, that's going to mean they don't have to do a lot to win here. Really, all they have to do is stay alive. And as you can see here, they've got 1 battleship left on Madara's team, and the enemy Hindenburg that was full health is actually going to go chase him down. And since Madara is in the process of dealing with this other one and not having very good luck here, as you can see, look at that, RNGesus is being ever the troll. Those shots are just not hitting, and the ones that are hitting are ricocheting. They're bouncing or they're shattering. Madara takes a huge hit there. That's probably going to be from one of the cruisers. So he takes a big old hit there, finally manages to finish off that cruiser. And that's just going to leave the enemy team with 2 ships. Now, they have a very low health destroyer that gets taken out by the friendly destroyer, and that's really going to help them. But again, look at this. The enemy team is way up on points. They have 3 of the caps, and even though Madara's team has 3 ships here, that cruiser is really putting the hurt onto that battleship and does manage to finish him off with fire. Again, that's the high explosive advantage that you have with having any other cruiser aside from the British light cruisers. Madara puts his torpedoes out there, and again, those are 10-kilometer torpedoes. So this Hindenburg has to be careful to keep maneuvering and avoid the potential of torpedoes. At this point, all this Hindenburg has to do is survive. The destroyer on Madara's team is not really in a position to actually help win the game anymore. As you can see there, that Hindenburg taking shots at him. Even if he goes and caps the B cap point, the enemy team still has 2 of them, and they are up in the 900 points bracket. Madara's low health, that Hindenburg could really start putting the hurt on him again, and has already managed to Citadel him at least twice there. As you can see, more armor piercing coming in there. But look at how he's sailing. Look at that. He's going to go sail right into torpedoes. 10-kilometer torpedoes, and he manages to eat it. All he had to do was survive. If you find yourself in this situation, the best thing you can do, folks, is turn around, run away, and hide. Play to win, especially if you've got 3 of the cap points and your team is in the 900 points bracket with not a lot of time left on the clock. Overall, 7 kills for Madara, Confederate, Kraken Unleashed, High Caliber, First Blood, a plethora of the birthday awards, 205,000 damage done, nearly 16,000 XP earned, and almost 1 million credits. Top of the team for XP earned at 3,000 base XP there. But again, enemy team really snatching defeat from the jaws of victory because the cruisers, especially that particular cruiser, got greedy. All he had to do was survive. And that would have been game over and a loss for Madara's team. But he didn't. And we have a wonderful come-from-behind victory. Anyway, that's it for today's video, folks. If you liked the video, hit that like button, hit the subscribe, follow button, and leave a comment. If you'd like to get semi-regular channel news and updates, you can do so by liking and following me on Facebook. If you'd like to help support me in the channel, you can do so by becoming my supporter on Patreon. If you've got a replay like this one that you'd like to see featured on my channel, you can send it to my email address. And if you'd like to watch me play various games live, you can do so by following me on Twitch. You can find the links for all of those in the video description down below. And as always, I'll see you next time. This is Captain Rye, signing off.